Hello everyone and welcome back to Beatley Tone's Beatles channel. Lovely to have you here. Thanks for joining me for this video and I hope you're all doing well. I wanted to make a quick video as a kind of a tribute to Denny Laine, who, as we all know, passed away a couple of days ago on the 5th of December, aged 79, from a long-standing lung disease that he had caused by getting COVID back in 2022. Very sad that he has now he has now died. I mean, it was only like a week ago that there was a tribute concert being held in his name at the famous Troubadour Club in LA, and to raise money for his healthcare. But I wanted to, I don't like doing these kind of, tribute videos the second, someone has died, when there's the usual sort of outpouring of lament. I kind of like the dust to settle a little bit and, kind of give a more sort of measured, tribute, if you like. I don't like dwelling on the fact that someone that is part of our, Beatles circle has died, but more a tribute as a celebration of what they gave us, really. And Denny is obviously a very accomplished musician. We kind of know his history. He started life in the Moody Blues in 1964. He sang and played piano on the Bessie Banks song Go Now, took it to #1. It was the Moody Blues first #1, and stayed with the Moody Blues for a couple of years. Quit in 1966, and I think he kind of disappeared a little bit from view from that point until he joined Wings. In fact, the band that he was in when he got the call from Paul was called Balls, which takes a bit of balls to be in a band called Balls, but a band called Balls is what he was in. But it's interesting that because he had sort of faded from view for a number of years, but when Paul decided to form Wings, he remembered Denny from being in the Moody Blues. He remembered that he liked him, and he also remembered that he was a fine guitarist and a very, very good vocalist. And I think that initially he probably thought about Denny as being an extra guitar, a new guitarist for Wings, but probably primarily he maybe thought about what he could bring to the band vocally. And it's quite interesting because I think that is really where Denny shone as part of Wings as a vocalist, and because the combination of his voice and Linda's voice, the harmonies, the backing vocals, is just so integral to the Wings sound that its importance can't really be underestimated. And when you think about it, it's not that easy to get a male and a female vocal combination that works really well, in so much that it actually defines the sound of the band. And when you think back about sort of 70s rock or just rock in general, really, there's not many male female combinations that you can say are they equal as far as defining the sound of a band. I mean, one that I kind of come up with was maybe Fleetwood Mac, Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, or Lindsey Buckingham and Christine McVie, sounded magnificent singing together. Maybe they are one of the few, pairings that may be the equal vocally of Denny Laine. So I think that his input into Wings is often underestimated, and a lot of the time we think of the members of Wings as sidemen to Paul, and that's not a bad thing. You can take any of the musicians that played in Wings: Denny Laine, Henry McCulloch, Jimmy McCulloch, Joe English, Steve Holly, Lawrence Juba, Jeff Britton, any of those, any of those people that played in Wings, fine musicians that they are, probably each one of them could have been replaced and were replaced at some point. So, but not Denny. Denny, it's always important to remember that Denny was there right from the beginning, right to the end, even when the band went down to just Paul, Linda and Denny, and there was more responsibility on his shoulders. He was still there. So Denny is the stalwart member of Wings, whose name isn't McCartney, really. And I think that what he brought to the band vocally is immeasurable. I mean, you can look at things like Silly Love Songs, that very intricate three-part harmony that goes on during that song, Big Barn Bed. These vocal harmonies just splattered all over the Wings catalogue, very prominent on on the albums like Venus and Mars and Wings at the Speed of Sound as well. Just some fantastic stuff going on. Now, his importance as a songwriter wasn't quite as important because you don't really need another prominent songwriter in the band when you've got Paul McCartney in the band. But he did come up with one or two, excellent songs. Time to Hide, springs to mind as probably his best contribution as a writer to Wings. But whereas with Band on the Run, where he was kind of, he was the last man standing for Band on the Run after Henry and Denny Laine left the band. Didn't really sort of step up to the plate so much as a songwriter there, but again, vocally and his guitar playing and other instruments that he played on that album are prominent. But when it came to the second time that Wings were left as a three-piece, and we got London Town, now that is where he really did sort of step up to the plate. Denny gets no less than 5 co-songwriting credits on this album. The title track, London Town, which has always been one of my favourite Wings songs of all time. It's a song that I've never ever got bored of. Children is a co-write. Deliver Your Children is Don't Let It Bring You Down, that beautiful sort of folky ballad. And of course, Grey Goose, Morse Moose and the Grey Goose, which not so much a co-write, but more a co-freak out or co-experiment, where they're kind of making it up on the hoof, I suppose. But a lot of people really love that song because it's just so different from everything else that's on the album or Wings ever did. If you look at Wings Over America, I mean, he's just so prominent on that, taking lead vocal on things like Spirits of Ancient Egypt, which the live version of that I've always thought is fantastic. But also the acoustic section of that album, you hear him vocally on Bluebird and Picasso's Last Words, and obviously he takes the lead vocal on Richard Corey, which was the first time I'd ever heard that Simon and Garfunkel song. Was the first time I ever heard of it was on Wings Over America. Obviously there's a cracking version of Time to Hide on that album as well. So all over Wings Over America, he was really instrumental on that whole tour, and the touring thing was really important to him. Now, I suppose if we're talking about his greatest moment in terms of success as a songwriter, then we can't look any further than this single, Mull of Kintyre, from 1977. This a co-write with Paul McCartney. You see the credit there, McCartney Laine, and not everyone's cup of tea, but it is at least 2 million people's cup of tea, because 2 million people bought it, and that single still remains the top selling non-charity single in the UK charts of all time. Sold over 2 million. That record has stood since early 1978, and it's unlikely to ever be beaten, because, you know, singles don't sell 2 million copies anymore. When it did break the record, it was the record that held by She Loves You. So Paul sort of beating his own record with this, but obviously, you know, this is a co-write for Denny Laine as well, so he's got a finger in that massive pie. I'm not going to pretend just because, you know, because Denny's died, that I was a big follower of Denny's solo career, because I wasn't. I don't own the albums that he made during the time he was with Wings, R. Lane and Holidays, but I did buy this album in 1980, Japanese Tears, and the reason that I bought this album was because there was stuff on it, there was Wings songs on it that I didn't have. There's a song called Send Me the Heart, which was from, I think it's from 1974. I think this is when they went to Nashville and they did the Country Hams stuff. So it's mostly country musicians on the track, but I think Paul plays bass on it. There's the track I Would Only Smile, which was mooted to be, it was going to be on the double album version of Red Rose Speedway, but was left off in the end. That's a song that Denny sings. And there's also a track called Weep for Love on this album, which is an outtake from the Back to the Egg session. So it features Paul and Linda and Lawrence Juba and Steve Holley. So there are other Wings bits smattered all over this album. I think when Wings sort of collapsed, Denny formed the Denny Laine Band, and Steve Holley was part of that. So he plays on some songs on this album. Now, I never ever got to meet Denny Laine. Denny Laine was very generous with his time as far as fans goes. He used to turn up at the Fest for Beatles fans in America, and also at the Liverpool Beatles convention every August, that's held here every August. He turned up for quite a lot of those as well. So, you know, he's been quite a prominent figure at these sort of fan conventions, and from people that have met him, that, you know, they've said that he always had time to talk to fans. So I never actually met him myself, but I did see him play live 4 times, and just share this story with you. So I saw him on the 1979 tour. I saw three dates of the tour, plus the concert for Kampuchea as well. And it's interesting that that for that tour, when you think about how great the set list was for Wings Over America, when it came to the next time that Wings toured in 1979, the UK tour, you know, hardly any of the songs from Wings Over America survived the set. But one of the songs that did survive the set was Go Now. Fantastic on Wings Over America, and he did it on the UK tour of 1979. And they did this thing before he did the song. So Paul would introduce that Denny's going to sing Go Now, and there was a grand piano on stage, but with the lid down, and Denny would take a run up from the front of the piano and jump up onto the piano, do a somersault on the top of the piano and land perfectly on the piano stool, and then just start playing dan dan da dan da dan dan da dan, which was just brilliant. And he did it at every gig. Obviously a well-rehearsed trick, but a fun thing and fun part of the show. So that, I'm just going to share that story with you. If I'm going to pick my favourite Denny Laine moment from the Wings back catalogue, I would probably go for The Note You Never Wrote from Wings at the Speed of Sound. I've always absolutely loved that song. It's so evocative and so atmospheric, and his voice is absolutely superb on it, and it's got that fantastic solo. I know it's not a Denny Laine written song, but we've heard Paul's vocal version of The Note You Never Wrote as well, and to be honest, Denny absolutely kills it. It's a fantastic moment. So if I was to pick one song as a highlight of Denny's Wings career, that would be the one that I would go for. I've always really loved that song. Okay, well, that's pretty much it for my little tribute to Denny Laine. To Denny Laine, I say thank you very much for everything that you have given us over the years. I know you guys out there will probably have seen a lot of these Denny Laine videos, so I hope you've enjoyed this one. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you all very soon. Bye bye.